I look to the corner of the room, and I shit you not, there is a like big Michael Myers looking zombie thing standing in the corner of the room looking at me. And then from behind him comes these fucking black bat things. They weren't really bats, they were just basically like bat shapes. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Actually, this could still be considered my kitchen because half of my house is my kitchen. This is obviously not a cooking video, but I figured I have a lot of stories that I could tell. I've lived kind of a weird life in a way. I mean, I've been blessed, I've had a good life, but I've had some weird moments. So I've been kind of wanting to share them with you guys. This is not just a cooking channel, this is my personal channel. And hey, might as well get fucking personal once in a while. Anyway, this story goes back to about 8 or so years ago. It's really weird that it's been so long, but you know, a day goes by and then a year goes by the next day. So I was at a party with a bunch of people. It was kind of like a high school, out of high school kids, early 20s kids party. Everyone was, you know, getting lit, as they say, 3 years ago. And a friend of mine, kind of an acquaintance at the time, his name's Mac, shout out to Mac. After I tell this story, you'll see why I was kind of pissed at him for several years after this, but we're cool now. He's a really nice guy, and I think he actually watches my videos. He was passing around these, you know, weed cookies, brownie, or no, they were cookies. They were chocolate chip cookies, but they had a bunch of weed in them. And I was like, oh, cool, I'll have some and, you know, get buzzed, and not knowing that weed is a whole different animal when you eat it. Just an important note, a little bit later, people were reporting bad reactions after eating a quarter of these cookies. I don't know where they came from, and I don't think he knew where they came from. I don't think he made them. I never knew my friend Mac as a fucking baker, so who knows where these fucking cookies came from, right? So he's passing them around, everyone's having some, having a good time, having a few drinks, a few laughs, and I grabbed one. I'm like, hey, these are pretty good. So I had a whole one, and then I was like, I really like the taste with the weed, the kind of grainy taste. I'm always into cookies that with a lot of baking soda in them, so I like that kind of, I don't know, sour taste, and the weed kind of provided that. So I ate a whole other one, like the dumbass that I was, and well, still am, you guys know that. A little bit later, we were hanging out, sitting on a beanbag chair out on the porch, like you do when you live in Oregon. I was starting to feel the effects, just talking to people, having a good time. Then I started to get quiet, and I'm not usually the kind of guy who stays quiet. You know, when I'm at a party, especially nowadays, not as much back then, but I kind of own the room because I'm a fucking jackass. Anyway, I got really quiet, and then all of a sudden, it was just, you guys that have eaten way too much weed or smoked too much know this, what it's like. It's just this, everything just like presses down on you, and you just get like, you feel kind of cold and but like hot at the same time, like, you know, baked. I turned to my girlfriend at the time, poor thing. She was the one that had to take care of me now. I turned to her and I was like, we gotta go. Gotta go right now. Gotta go fast. She's like, oh, okay, let's go. And we head out to my truck, my beloved 1992 GMC Jimmy, manual, 5-speed. She has driven a manual maybe one time, and I get behind the wheel. On the way out to the truck, I'm just hearing like, I'm starting to hear things. I look out there's this field parked where my truck was parked right next to it, the tall grass, and I'm hearing literal demons just like, like in Half-Life, you know, like the fast zombies in Half-Life, kind of like that, kind of reminded me of that. So terrifying. And you know, the wind's blowing, so the grass is going like this, but in my mind, you know, the grass is going like, so I get behind the wheel of my truck. At this point, I could still walk. So like, I'll be fine. I've driven drunk before. It's, you know, I'm good, right? Get behind the wheel, start the engine. At this point, I knew how to start the engine. I get in the truck and the road is, you know, flat like a road is. And I get behind the wheel, I look at the road's going like this. And the whole world is kind of going like this. I'm like, what is a car? So my girlfriend at the time gets behind the wheel, bless her heart, and proceeds to try to drive us home. It's about a 5-minute drive home, and it took us about, I want to say between 30 and 40 minutes to get home. I was just like, okay, here's what you do. Put it in first, it's a V6. All you have to do is let out the clutch and hit the gas. That's all you have to do to get us home. She drove us in first gear, middle of the night. I don't know how we didn't get pulled over. She didn't have a driver's license. We get to this stoplight on a hill. And those of you who aren't experienced driving stick shift, or if you are, you know how tough that can be when you don't know exactly what you're doing. I'm at the stage where I'm still a little bit like loopy and I'm in and out. I basically, it only took me like an hour to start like literally blacking out. At one point, I'm just kind of like having a joke with myself. I'm like, hey man, yeah, that was it. Yeah, this is great. Look over, we're at a stoplight. I look over at my crying girlfriend who cannot figure out how to get the truck rolling up this hill. And I thought that 30 seconds had gone by, and I'm like, yeah, you're fine, man. You're gonna be good. It turned out that we were at the light for 15 minutes. She's trying to fucking go, but she just couldn't figure it out. She kept having to restart it. It was a goddamn nightmare for her. The nightmare for me starts later. So she finally gets us going. I don't know when exactly that was, because I had looked over and I kind of laughed at her crying, and then I blacked out again and I was just not even there for a while. And all of a sudden we were home. We get out of the truck and she's having to basically not carry me, but kind of shift me, crutch me over to the house, because I had lost basically all motor functions. All of a sudden we're in the house. I don't know how long it took us to get into the house. That was a week. Better. Sits me down on the bed and she's like, yeah, just try to get some rest. You're gonna be okay. We're home now. Everything's gonna be okay. That's when the real shit started. I don't know if my brain was just, I don't know, waiting to show me some shit, but it was a wild ride from there on out. Maybe not wild to some of you fucking cosmonauts out there, but one of the wildest things I've ever been through, in my mind at least. So I'm sitting on the bed and I'm starting to get really cold, like you do when you're way too high. Sitting on my bed, we have these blue lights in the room, which probably didn't help. And I start violently shivering. I'm just so cold, but hot at the same time. And I'm rocking back and forth, just kind of, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. You feel like your insides are gonna boil out. At one point, I remember, was trying to lay down. I kept trying to lay down because I was super tired. And I'm laying down, I look up at the ceiling, and the ceiling's just breathing, you could hear it breathing too. So, and then it starts kind of waving, all that stuff. And the textured ceiling looks kind of crazy. It looks like a dragon's belly or something when you're really fucking tripping. Okay, yep, sound the alarm. Everything's, yep, the whole world is ending. I'm like, there's no fucking way I'm sleeping. There's no way, fuck this. So I'm just gonna ride it out, basically. Got to the point where I was you close your eyes and you're just spinning backwards a million miles an hour. So I'd try to sleep, that kept happening, so I kept staying awake. I look to the corner of the room, and I shit you not, there is a, big Michael Myers looking zombie thing standing in the corner of the room looking at me. And then from behind him comes these fucking black bat things. They weren't really bats, they were just basically bat shapes that came up behind him and were dive bombing me. They were just flying around the room all crazy, and I could feel them hitting me. It was fucking crazy. It's like I had tapped into another dimension, which arguably you might be when you're tripping. So I'm freaking out, and my girlfriend at the time had no idea what I was going through, because I couldn't even really speak. I couldn't convey what I was going through. She kind of probably had an idea because she had experimented with drugs and all that stuff, so she knew I was not having a good time. I was having a bad time, okay? So it got to that pivotal point of the night where it's finally time to vomit. That is the time when you know that you're gonna crest and you might know that everything's all right. At this point, I was like, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna have to call the ambulance. I lived across the street from a hospital, which would have been counterproductive. I was like, I'm probably either gonna die or, I'll never be sane again. I'm like, okay, gotta throw up now. And I'm getting toward the bathroom, and the room is not even there anymore. There's no room. So I'm allegedly throwing up in the toilet for like 20 minutes, according to my ex. And the bathroom turns into the edge of a cliff. I'm not in our realm anymore. I'm somewhere else. The bathroom turns into the edge of a cliff. So the toilet is like this central piece of my existence, which turns into a valley, it's like there's an edge of a cliff and then there's just this dark, bottomless canyon. And I'm throwing up over the side of this fucking canyon. I'm like, okay, so I'm either going to fall into this canyon and die and never be seen or heard from again, or I'm just gonna throw up. I don't know. I had no idea. But it was at one of this pivotal point. It was like it was real. I was really next to this canyon. There was like dust and all this shit flying around. And all of a sudden, it's really cheesy and kind of gay, but my girlfriend at the time wrapped her arms around me, and it was like the arms of an angel. That's how I described it. And after that, I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna be all right. I think I threw up some of the second cookie or something. I was starting to feel much better after that. My body just spilled it out. It's like, fuck this, we're getting it out. So after that, I laid down. I was still kind of shivering and stuff, but I laid down and I was starting to calm down, and I was able to finally sleep. And the next morning, I ate an entire box of Cheerios. And I also should note that after that, I was like a week afterwards, I didn't know who I was. It was like I was this shell of a person. I don't know if it's because I was completely drained and I didn't know anything about, nutrition or recovering from any kind of psychedelic episode. But that whole, at least 5 days afterwards, I lost myself. I didn't know who I was, where I was half the time. And I finally went out to the woods and was calling my own name, trying to get myself back. That's how desperate I was. And I finally kind of reconnected with myself. I kind of just oh, hey man, shaking my own hand, coming back. And I was like, all right, man, we're good. But that was a life-changing experience. And my friend, or my former friend, who had done methamphetamine and all this stuff back in the day, and he said that sounded like more than weed, or at least it was laced with something crazy. Let me know what you guys think. Maybe what does it sound like to you? Am I just a big pussy? Probably. So that's my one crazy weed story. I have one other one that is a bit more dramatic but less visually interesting. If you guys want to hear about it, let me know. I know, like I said, I don't usually do story time stuff on this channel. I really never do, but I'd like to start doing them. I want to do cooking videos. I've been doing cooking videos and having them up every Thursday, but I want to have more me stuff on Saturdays. So, live streaming and stories and stuff like that. So let me know what you guys think of that. And I appreciate all the new subs. I just have to say that at this point, I feel more certain that my channel will be successful than I ever have. And I hope that it gets to that point. And I really believe it. I think that it's gonna happen. So if you're new, you just stumbled upon this video and you like hearing people tell stories of how their mind got blown, hey, how you doing? I'm TheBear, and this is my channel. Anyway, have a great fucking day, and keep your bitches out of the kitchen, of course. And I'll see you in the next one, you cunts.